Welcome to the show. This is The Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zammer. Let's get on with the show with the news, the views, the reviews, and interviews. So, just a brief update on the Star Wars Celebration 2027. Just sort of concluding for a while, so we can just not be overly concerned at the moment, which it's a waiting game. So I've sent another email today. I'm going to keep it like that. I put a reminder for myself at the end of this month to sort of give them an update. Them being Star Wars Celebration at readpop.com. Again, that's Star Wars Celebration at readpop.com. That's the email you would email about the ticket disaster that we know of. And keep it like that. Attend to it at a later stage. I'm choosing it to be later this month. And I will update you on anything that develops. And if you do still have questions about this, or wanting some advice or something like this, or just send me a comment of anything Star Wars, obviously deemed appropriate, and then that's it. So that's a bit of a concluding point on Star Wars Celebration 2027 for this stage. So let's get on to more news. A great fan film has hit the airwaves again on YouTube. It's, I think, a third installment. It's called Heir to the Empire. Not Hair, I keep saying hair because it's spelled with a H, but Heir to the Empire. I think it could be the third installment. I will be giving you a review of that later in the show in the review section. To more news, there's been apparent reports that Ahsoka will be coming in early 2027. That's coming from pretty highly regarded sources, but it's only a report and it's apparently. So Ahsoka, the series 2 or season 2 could be coming, in 2027, early on. Anyway, that's the news. That's the news for this time around. Straight to the point. Now let's get into views. Views is either my viewpoint, opinion, or Star Wars story idea that I have a view on, that I like to see. This time around, it's actually a story idea. It's the word that we've got in the last couple of days has been reports of apparent character names and synopsis on Starfighter that's coming out in 2027. I have said clearly that, look, even the actual events take 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker. Whether you like Rise of Skywalker or not, 5 years after those events, it's pretty hard to hide the fact of the huge battle that took place to finally get the Emperor dead once and for all. So to me, you sort of do need to sort of acknowledge somehow that period of time in the Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker period, Force Awakens, the characters Rey and Poe Dameron and Finn and stuff like that. But it has been said by Sean Levy quite clearly that it's not a prequel, it's not a sequel, it's just a fresh take on Star Wars. I think, as a story idea, besides the fact that I would connect, the story a little, but he has said, let's make it original. So the expectation on my behalf is that it needs to be original. No connection to characters, no connection to spaceships or star cruisers, no connections to planets. It's got to be a different section of the whole galaxy, and it's got to be like they didn't even know about this battle, to the point. And yeah, so that's, I just, my other part of the story idea is not to sort of get into the whole, this is my niece, this is my nephew, this is my uncle, this is my father, this is my mum, just something that is unique, original. I'm expecting super original. I'm excited for this particular film to come out, as a lot of us hardcore Star Wars fans are, and to see what really this is all about in the supposed teaser that's coming very soon. Which I should add that I think it may also possibly drop at the start of Mandalorian and Grogu. That's a possibility, which is opens next week, which is, I can't believe it's now right around the corner. But yeah, I just think it's got to be completely original. Expectations from the man himself, Sean Levy, the director, I think the writer. It needs to be completely original. All it needs is really the used future look. That's it, and the sound. That's it. That's all it really needs for it to be a Star Wars film. But I also would like, if this becomes a let's say there's a second part to this and a third part, I would like it actually almost, instead of calling the series Star Wars, this series would be called Starfighter. So then you would have Starfighter Episode 1, Starfighter Episode 2, Starfighter Episode 3 with, subtitles as titles. Just like, we've got Revenge of the Sith or A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back. So it would be like Starfighter Episode 1, whatever it is. That's what I'd like to see. But anyway, but also just to add on top of all of that, I do think possibly this could be a surprise Episode 10, possibly, as a prediction, as a possibility. But anyway, that's my thoughts and views. I won't make it more complex than I've already made it already. But anyway, that is my views. Let's get into reviews. Heir to the Empire. It's just come out in the last 24 hours on YouTube. It has Luke Skywalker, Han Solo with a beard, and Princess Leia going from one part of a planet to another planet, and sort of evading these bims or mims or whatever they are. These sort of weird looking creatures with hoods. Look, I'm going to say straight off the bat, this particular episode, fan film, which was greatly done, like visually, sound-wise, even the story was great done, but it's going to get a 7 out of 10. Only because it was not an overly captivating story. It was an interesting original story, and it was good. To me, it was, something that is an in-between story, a connecting story, which is sort of really was if you look at it from start to finish. But just the look of it and the sound of it, not to sort of concentrate on the AI element by itself, but the story still, and the dialogue and it's just really well done. Like I'm just amazed with these type of films. But that is going to be a very brief review on Heir to the Empire. You can check it out now on YouTube. Just look for the, I think it's Stories Untold or Star Wars Stories Untold. It's the YouTube channel. Check that out. The picture of the episode should be either somewhere in the screen right now. And so that's a 7 out of 10. Great work. Enjoying these AI stories. Full on. Unbelievable. Anyway, so now let's get into interviews. Interviews is what I get in my last of my comments on my YouTube channel. I don't have X, I don't have Twitter or whatever it is, that's a combined thing. I don't have an Instagram running at the moment. I just use my last particular video to get the comments, and still the comments are going to be a little bit on Star Wars Celebration, which is fair enough, and I'm still happy to answer more questions on the why, whens, hows, and stuff like that. But let's just go through my last particular video comments. And before I go on, subscribe to the channel, The Force Always. I'm here 3 or 4 times a week with Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews. But let's get on with the interviews. So anyway, a yeah, nah, 2261. That's yeah, nah, 2261. Thank you. Just sent an email. May the Force be with us. Gold Coast here. Now, what that person means was I did on the last episode, as I did on this episode, give you the email address of the people you should contact about this Star Wars Celebration ticketing fiasco. And again, that's Star Wars Celebration at reedpop.com. So Reed is spelled R-E-E-D, pop.com. And yeah, so he or she is talking about that. Gold Coast here, well, that's a part of Australia. That's in Queensland. Beautiful, tropical sort of feeling area. That's a great area. And thanks to, 2261. And then Michael from Werribee South, one of our favourite commenters here, has responded to that one and said, Amen. Comment. Anyway, for some reason I can't open the other replies, but I will read the rest of the comments that I got in my last particular video. Rowdy Stouty, we've heard from that person before, which is great. Thank you for the update. Good call on emailing for a waiting list. And again, that was about getting onto Star Wars Celebration at repop.com.au. So that's Star Wars Celebration at repop.com, to be straightforward. And just request to be on a waiting list. Vent your frustrations of why. Hopefully these people will get it, and that's it. And the people being ReedPop, a really, really frustrating event organisation I've had to deal with a couple of times in not the so best way. But anyway, let's just rise above and keep rocking. So the next comment I got, Noriski 77. Noriski 77 has written, thanks heaps, mate. As Australian, which is great. Messaging from Perth. Yep, told you. Perth is in the west side of Australia, Western Australia. So again, thanks heaps, mate. Messaging from Perth. Like everyone else, I sat through 5 hours starting at 3 a.m. with the Facebook link and 5 devices in the queue. At 8 a.m. Perth time, finally got through to have everything sold out. We have based our first big family trip to the States based around being able to attend SWC, which is Star Wars Celebration. All I can say again is just email, hold off, don't let it bother you at the moment, give it a little bit of time and follow up that email, but request to be on a waiting list, and let's just wish that our wishes come true. Hold out for a new hope. Bit of a Star Wars connection there. But anyway, then we have, and the final comment for today, Rowdy Stouty has written up again, and I see a lot of negative articles on projection and ticket sales for Mando Grogu, which is the film. I am not very worried about it. I think that people will buy closer to the showtime. When I went to see Mario last month, it was not very busy the first few days of showing, and the movie is cruising along with ticket sales. When the movie is good, people will keep filing in to see it. There's a group of us, 12 of us going to see it on Friday, May 22nd. And that's great. I'm with you, buddy. I think, look, the American projections, I've got to base it on the American projections. It's because it gets a bit confusing in how to really gauge elsewhere. But the American projections for the opening weekend in America is between $70 million and $90 million for the opening weekend. I reckon it's going to, I think it's going to do more like 90, and I'll tell you why. Nothing is really in its path in the first 2 weeks. It is a weekend off over there in America. I think people will sort of see a Star Wars film and say, well, let's go and see what this is about, even though they may not know what the hell's going on. Just the excitement. Star Wars doesn't just bring in people who knows what Star Wars is all about. It's just a great spectacle. And if you can understand, when I saw it back in 1977, we knew nothing about what was going on. In fact, if you look at that particular episode, which was episode 4, A New Hope, we sort of get ploughed into an episode that should have had explanations for things previously, but it didn't. We just took it from there, and it just built upon that from there on, and it was great. I think personally, I'm going to say at this stage, Mando and Grogu, the movie, is going to do better than expected, and I think it's going to push more like 90, possibly plus, in its opening weekend, Memorial Weekend, I think it is in America, and that's what I think. I think I'm, even though a little bit flat with Star Wars since the whole Star Wars celebration thing, I still have a bit of excitement for this movie because it does the last main trailer, the proper main last trailer. It did make it was exciting. It looked good. It did look like it was for the cinema. The first trailer that we saw in a public sort of thing, which was on YouTube, that was a little bit TV-like. But I can also tell you at Star Wars Celebration in Japan, when I saw the first images there, I was excited. Like, I just thought this was great. You know, I was into it. So anyway, to answer out as Stouty, I'm glad that you're going with 12 of you there. That's great. And keep in contact if you can. Any questions you may have, just send them in. Any comments, whatever. And it is opening next week, Mando and Grogu. And that's it. So anyway, that is the show for this time around. Until next time, my friends, keep rocking.